Assalamu alaikum. Hello. Last time I talked about, discussed the global pandemic, how 2020 went to hell in a handbasket. People were literally shook because at the beginning of the year, if people have forgotten, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, basically assassinated the top Iranian military general. And we were thinking, oh shit, will World War III happen because of some American nincompoop? But we didn't realize that we will be thrown into the oblivion, which is the global pandemic, and be the front and center stars of contagion. As I said yesterday, privilege is a very important thing to understand when analyzing the global pandemic because we are not all in this together despite what some rubbish celebrities say to you or people who are on the toxic positivity, peace and love and light bandwagon. If you are of a lower socioeconomic status, things like access to clean water, soap, and sanitation is really difficult. It is a privilege. And especially, people don't understand that wearing a mask is also a privilege. Uncomfortable for some, but many struggle because masks, especially if you have breathing issues, aren't really going to help. They're even going to make the situation worse. But that didn't stop the self righteous people from looking down at people, and even social distancing itself is a privilege because in nations such as Bangladesh, India, the Philippines, you can't tell people to socially distance because of the population density. So here in Aotearoa, we are able to socially distance. One of the effects that happened when the pandemic struck is the focus of attention towards people with COVID. There's nothing wrong with that inherently, but the focus has been removed from people with other health issues, especially mentally ill and people with chronic conditions who are the most vulnerable within the healthcare. And I have experienced excruciating pain because the doctor won't see me until level 1, which was around 8 weeks. And the doctor treated me like shit. If you're trans, queer, intersex, you are most likely to suffer, especially if you come from a lower socioeconomic background, because you're already getting discriminated. People of color also get disproportionately mistreated and a lack of resources, especially indigenous people. And the pandemic has been a cloud to cover neocolonialism, like what's happening in Brazil and also the concentration camps in China. fascism, colonialism, anti-indigeneity, resource theft, it didn't stop because there was lockdown. It didn't stop because it was pandemic. Like it just continued even more. And during this time, it really revealed this really rotten attitude of let's, you know, let's increase the prices because it makes perfect sense in a global pandemic. Oops, pandemic that we would increase the prices for food and other necessity, but also luxury items because we all know that people didn't lose jobs. And we all know that people aren't stranded in the borders without a place to go. But in reality, a lot of migrants and refugees are also very vulnerable because if you are in a location where you are not a permanent resident or a citizen, services will not be extended to you. Like what's happening here in Aotearoa, in the colonial state of New Zealand. The government sure loves migrants when it's to fill up their pockets, to, to get them rich, but when it comes to helping them in times of dire need, they're quick to shut the door because who needs these migrants? Let's throw them under the bus. To wrap up my point, trashy people have taken advantage by hoarding essentials and marking up the price to sell them. And certain celebrities and influencers take advantage of selling sanitizers and face masks to their gullible stands in order to buy them in a marked up price. This is really fucked up, and hopefully, though I doubt it, people would make better decisions when it comes to a vaccine.